Hello and welcome to an obedient new episode of the StudioMEcast. I'm your host, Peter Regan, manager here at StudioME, calling you from StudioME Speakeasy in our wonderful neighborhood of East Liberty, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And today I am joined by a special guest. My guest this week is ChaRon Don. He is a hip-hop artist and he's actually from here in East Liberty. He and I got connected through our mutual friend Aaron Moore, who's been on the show before, and he has a project that he has been working with. He's collaborated with Aaron Moore on, and he's been working on this project for 6 years, and it's coming to its final conclusion. So please sit back, enjoy, relax, and join us for this episode of the StudioMEcast with ChaRon Don. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So you reached out because we have a mutual connection, which is Aaron Moore.
Yes,
who
Aaron
I've
Moore.
interviewed on this show before.
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron, I want to get you back with Benzie, so I haven't forgotten. Don't you forget. And but you reached out and you said something immediately that it intrigued me, which was there's a project that you've been working on for 6 years that you're coming to the end of, and I want to hear all about it. So you're a music artist.
Yes, I'm a hip-hop artist.
Hip-hop artist.
Yeah.
And so tell us a bit about this project and the event that's coming up that people are going to be able to go see.
Yes, this is my latest album. I've been doing music for about 20 years, a little bit over. So this one is kind of like my baby. I've never done anything like this with film. You know, I never really worked with videographers, so this particular one is the most collaborative project that I've worked on. It's always just been like audio, CDs, well, really tapes, even back in the day, cassette tapes and CDs, and even most recently last year, the end of last year, I put out a vinyl record. It's called
cool.
Diary of a Don. You know, I just wanted to take it back. I was getting a lot of requests from supporters like, "Hey, you should bring it back to the vinyl." I've only been featured on vinyl. Never had my own vinyl, you know. So
Congratulations.
I was like, thank you
That's
so much.
such a cool milestone.
No,
too.
thank you,
Yeah,
bro.
I've got my own, record player at home.
Oh yeah?
So, yeah.
You got a nice collection?
It's all right. It's modest. I'm more of a I love and appreciate physical media.
Yes.
I'm especially with movies. I have a lot of
Yes.
4K discs. My grandmother gave me all of her old family films that like my grandfather, the old Super 8 stuff.
dope.
But being able to have and hold something is really cool.
It's different. It's
Yeah.
different, and I've always been on that. I haven't even streamed any of that music from last year
Oh, wow.
that I released. Yeah, I have one project on vinyl. It's called Diary of a Don, and it's a compilation of a lot of the music through the years that were like the hits of those albums. Because I'm on like my 7th album. This will be the 7th album. So all of those other albums, we just created took the hits from it, put it on that vinyl, and then I did like 3 new releases last year to also put on that. And then I dropped a CD as well, because that's the era where, we were really thriving and doing the music and picking up the fan base. So we dropped a CD called Watching You, Watching Me. That's the audio aspect to this whole package. Now we're getting into the video. So I wanted to do like an audio video type of thing where most of the songs have a visual to them and it's telling a story. So me and Aaron were working years back, just making music videos, man, like to drop them almost like as singles. We weren't even thinking about a project back then. We were just building and creating a relationship, with music, and then just with being brothers, man, just like learning each other. We respected each other's work, and he was actually, the first time I met him, he was on a set with a mutual friend, Marcus Morelli. I'm not sure if you know Marcus Morelli from
I'm not sure.
Scheme 19.
I'm not sure if we've met, but we've been around each other.
Yeah. So me and Marcus were doing a music video, and Aaron was actually helping out, on that music video. And from there, we started talking, and he let me know he does video. And when I seen his work, I was like, oh man, we have to collab.
Absolutely.
And from there, it's just been a constant collaboration. With recording.
That's phenomenal. I want to go back to a little moment where you're talking about having that vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just rattled off so many cool accomplishments and milestones and all that. You said you've been doing this 20 years. You said phenomenal. All right, and when you held that vinyl for the first time, what was going through your head?
Man, just grateful, man. Just thankful. Yeah, because I have a collection. I've always had a collection, and the way I, honor the musicians that are in my collection, the artwork, everything about vinyl, the process of it. I mean, it could go real deep when you're speaking about how close it is to the live performance and really getting the most intimate with that artist or whoever you're listening to, they say it is the closest to being with that artist, so, and I get that. And just the process of the duplication, how it's duplicated, it's fascinating. It's always been fascinating to me. So, coming up as a kid, it would be far-fetched to even think I would be able to have my own vinyl because, I'm seeing all these greats with them. And then they kind of died off for a while where it was are people even listening to vinyl anymore, But within these few last years, the resurgence just got stronger and stronger, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do it, man. This is like my baby. This is some of the best music I've put out. Why not have it on, the best media that I feel that is out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was amazing, man. It was exciting. But I was most grateful to be able to even pull it off.
Now, when you did your first music video with Aaron Moore, so I watched the music videos you sent over to me,
cool.
And I enjoy his work and yours now as well.
You,
so, what was the first music video you both shot together?
See, and for me, the years just kind of go together, But I would think it would be maybe Big. I sent you the music video Big that we shot downtown Pittsburgh and a couple of studios around the city. I believe that was the first music video that we worked on.
Wow. And you had done music videos before that?
Correct.
Right. So what was the experience? Was the experience working with Aaron different? Because you said collaborator,
Yes.
So was that... had you done a lot of music videos up to that point? Are you what right before you get to the shoot, the location? Are you excited to do this? Are you nervous? Are you ready to do it? How do you feel about what's the beginning of the day like?
I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
I'm always planning ahead, so I'm planning that week really, just listening to the location, getting the locations from Aaron, seeing his vision on it. I really leave it open to the cinematographer and director, whoever has the idea. So he brings me the idea. We talk about possible locations and we go from there. And since it was in the city and he's from outside the city, I was like, okay, downtown Pittsburgh. I mean, I've worked downtown, I've hung out downtown, so I know all the spots that this would look cool, given your idea with the subway and, hitting some of the bridges and really showing Pittsburgh and what it is. When people think of the city, I'm like, we have to hit these spots, and those are the ones we kind of focused on, and he, he was all for it.
Awesome. So you started doing that collaboration with him. Is it a pretty exclusive collaboration at this point, or do you work with other videographers as well?
It started out exclusive, and then over time, I started traveling, and as I was traveling, I was thinking why not add even more videographers to this, and different artists and musicians. So it became even more collaborative, even outside of the work that me and Aaron was doing.
Mm.
But me and Aaron consistently and continually was working on the songs that we liked the most from these albums.
Right
you
on.
know.
So this project that you've been working on for over 6 years now.
Yes.
Yeah. You first off, congratulations coming to the end of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I identify with long-term projects
Yes.
a lot, and yeah, and you've got an event coming up
Mhm.
to celebrate and present
Yes.
this. Let's start talking about that. Like, give us dates, location, and what people can expect to see there.
Where is Row House Theater on Butler Street in Lawrenceville? Nice theater. I've been there for a couple of screenings. A good friend of mine's, Will Fagans Jr., had some of his documentaries showed there over the last couple of years. So I've attended those and was like, yo, this is a nice space. Like, I would love to do something here. Not knowing we were this close to the completion of Watching You, Watching Me. But, yeah, I felt like this was a great place to do it, support the local scene and business. So Row House Theater, Lawrenceville, November 9th and November 10th. So it's a Saturday and a Sunday in about a week or so.
Wonderful. And how can people? Well, let's have a link in the description.
Yes.
For if anyone wants to learn more about that. So it's the modern age, everybody. So again, the
Yeah.
description, follow through there, and tell us a little bit about what the what people can expect when they're there. We got some music videos. We have an MC. Like, what kind of what do you hope people get out of this? Too?
I think people will get to know me more, as an artist. I think people will see the different sides of my artistry, opposed to just like maybe hearing a single here and there, or just hearing my name and being like, oh, this guy. I know him from this song, or I know him from this video or this project. It's like, no, this is kind of more reflective of where I'm at now currently, and it's bringing together a lot of different sides to just my artistry that I don't think I've shared much through the years, as much as I have on this project. So they'll get to see that, and then there's people from other parts of my life. Me being an educator and teaching hip hop in the public schools, I have that side of what I do, which is related to the music, but it's through teaching, and it's through working with students and highlighting what they do and focusing on their accomplishments, So some of these people from that world now get to see, okay, now what does this teacher do? What is this? Let's hear what he has to say and his life and so they'll get a kind of like a more intimate side of what I do.
What grade level do you teach?
So I teach from elementary up to high school.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Where did your passion for teaching come from?
Well, I was in school to be an educator, elementary ed, so I went to school, studied, and that's what I wanted to do. And but as I was pursuing that degree, I was still doing hip hop like heavy, you know what I mean, like performing and traveling and releasing music. So a friend of a friend at Carnegie Mellon University, he actually teaches Pro Tools and sound engineering, Ricardo Schultz. He actually put me on to someone who had a program at Carnegie Mellon University where they put hip-hop artists inside the Pittsburgh public schools, and we teach what we do, and I've been working with, now they're friends, man. They start out as like colleagues, and so there's a woman, Dr. Natalie Ozeas, who's a professor at Carnegie Mellon University School of Music, and just amazing woman who's like now at this point is like a mentor, and retired at this point, but whole life is dedicated to music, to Pittsburgh Public Schools, and I was like that bridge to like the culture, like the Pittsburgh hip hop culture and this education side of me and this career that I'm trying to pursue. And I've been teaching for over 10 years now within the Pittsburgh public schools.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And that's great, too, because I have a connection with that kind of thing. My dad and brother are both music teachers. And my dad got his undergrad at CMU, and my brother got his master's there.
Awesome,
so,
bro.
Yeah, it's music teachers can have an enormous influence on their students. My dad, when he was teaching at a high school, which I'll keep nameless for now, but when he was teaching there, they had a pretty low graduation rate. All of his students graduated. And, it's on the one hand, it's up to the student to do stuff, but it's like teachers have such a lifelong impact.
Big time, bro.
Like not even just through their education, but through the rest of their life. I remember my high school teachers and my everything.
Not all of them.
Not all of them, but there were. Like, I remember my old biology teacher had just a huge impact on the way that I view life. Like, just, the guy was a genius, So, that's great.
Amazing.
I think this will be so cool for some of your students to
be
able to see what's going on.
Oh, for sure.
Well.
We even, me and Aaron even went into one of the elementary schools, Faison Elementary, to shoot one of the music videos. We incorporated the students. They loved it, you know what I mean? Yeah, man, I'm just trying to bring it full circle, like bring these worlds that I kind of bounce in and out of together as one. Even when I was walking here, bro, I was walking through the hood, and these two little girls came up to me and was like, "Hey," and I'm like, "What are they about to say?" And they were like, "You were at our school. You were at Dilworth." And I was like, "Oh, you went to Dilworth?" They're like, "Yeah, we still do. And we were in the music video from a year ago." And I'm like, "Oh, wow." You know what I mean? And it was
that's
just
great.
Yeah, man, it was just that
cool is that?
confirmation, like,
Yeah.
bro, like, these youth need it. You know, they need to see, like, you can go from pen, paper, and then take it to the studio, and then from there even put a visual to it and really tell your story. And that's why we're releasing this.
Well, that's a great jumping point here for something I love to talk with artists of all mediums about, which is your process. So do you, when you're doing your lyrics, do you do that by pen and paper?
Bro, I'm still old school with
me
it.
too, man. That's right. Not lyrics, but like writing. Yeah, writing by hand all the time.
Yeah,
so
for
that's
sure,
great.
man.
So
Yeah, I
what
love to
kind of
write.
do you have? Spiral-bound notebooks, sketchbooks,
Everything,
moleskins,
man.
everything?
I have everything. I write on everything.
Yeah.
Calendars,
Yeah.
envelopes just sitting around. You know what I mean? Like, and I put them all together. And most of the times, I don't even transfer them anywhere. I just, I'll be in the studio. Like, if I don't know the lyrics, I'll be in the studio, and I'll have that envelope, and I'm just rapping from it. You know, if it's not memorized at that point, you know. But
That's
yeah,
great.
I love it.
That's so I write scripts and screenplays and stuff, and I have this dream that one day, I think in the next year or two, if it's not available yet, someone's gonna invent this idea, which is a notebook that you can write in by hand, which then you can automatically upload that stuff, and it will format it for you properly, because all the screenplay stuff like has to be formatted a certain way.
Okay.
You know? But I write by hand, at least the first draft. Like, first draft's always handwritten. And eventually I'll type it up, but, you know, it's I just have this wonderful idea of just, well, I'm going to write it by hand, and then it will type it so, like, it'll, you know, get what I put there, you know.
Instead of you actually doing it, like editing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't change what I wrote, is my point, but it would, like, you know, put in the correct font, so I don't have to just transcribe it.
Right.
Even though when I do that, that's part of my rewrite process, but I don't know. I think it would be nice.
That would be dope. That would be dope.
You know?
It's coming.
So, well, that's great. So let's keep talking about your process then.
Yes.
Like, when, how much, at what point, is there a point where the writing process is done for you, or are you like changing stuff in the studio while you're recording? How's that go?
Usually it's already edited before I get to the studio. Yeah, I'm not doing too much changing and altering things once I'm in the studio. I'm really trying to captivate the mood and the vibe at that point. Because I feel like in the last few years, I learned to not be in my head as much as I used to be. You know, I was really in my head coming up when I was writing. That's why I say like lyricism is my love. You know, because I'm really into words, and that's all amazing. You know, being a great, you know, studying to be a great writer. It's great, but you also need to connect as a musician with the audience, and sometimes less is more in that way. And it's just about like what is the feeling you're trying to convey, you know, and to do that, I learned I need to be ready before I even get to the studio. So so yeah, it's a lot of rehearsing, you know, going over the lyrics so many times before I even hit the studio, and sometimes rewriting it. Like sometimes just rewriting it is helping me to memorize the lyrics. You know,
Yeah.
it's something to that, and that's kind of like a technique I even give to the students, because nowadays they don't even like to write, bro. They like to put it in their phones, and that's fine. But I try to get them to write, because then you're actually looking at the spelling. Sometimes you ask more questions and get the context of some of these words and ideas, and you're just using your brain more.
When you write, do you prefer pens, pencils, or anything that's around?
I say a real nice ink pen, bro.
Yeah.
One that just kind of like floats on the sheet. And I'm saying if I in a perfect time, and you know that type of it makes a difference. You know, I used to use a lot of the fountain pens, like the cross pens, like the silver ones, just because it made me feel special.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, they're heavy, and yeah, they have a feel to them. So I like ink pens. But yeah, again, I use markers, I use pencils, I use whatever's laying around. To be honest, bro, I can probably find things in crayon if I go digging.
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic. Now for when it comes to when you've got one of your tracks done, all right, and you're gonna go to a music video at that point.
Right.
You talked about sometimes you'll discuss with the videographer about location, stuff like that. How did even though you did video before meeting Aaron more, did incorporating video into how you express yourself as an artist affect other aspects of the mediums that you use? Like, when you started doing video, did that affect the way you write at all?
I would like to say it did, you know, just because I think everything's connected. So through that creative process with these more current songs that I'm writing, I definitely can see visuals for them now, because I've been filming so much as of these last few years. So yeah, I would say it changes. But again, I'm not too much in my head where I'm literally writing to, you know, produce a music video. You know, I'm not, because I don't think every song needs a music video. Some songs should just stay songs, and you should just feel them in that way, just sonically, you know. But yeah, there's been a few that I thought of as I was writing. I was like, yo, this would be a really nice music video. You know?
How that, I've never really wondered this before, I guess, but for you, what helps you determine whether one of your songs should have a music video or not? Like, what's sort of the process for that?
I mean, in that way, I'm not selfless. Like I have to have people tell me like, yo, I'm feeling this track. Yo, this track is the one. You know what I mean? And then when I hear that enough, then I'm like, okay, maybe this deserves some visuals. You know, because that's more time, that's more money. So, but if the people want it, I think that is when I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Cool.
So I just listen to people's opinions through the years of some of these songs, and I'm like, in my head, like, all right, one day I would like to shoot a music video for it. So when I had the opportunity, we did. So
that's good. So yeah, I asked about the if doing music videos affect your writing? Because that's been my experience with all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's just in art school, taking a painting course helped me to be a better filmmaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, having how the video might affect writing and all that. Now, when it comes to just pursuing music, over the course of 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and this might be too big of a question, so you can take it where you want.
Sure.
But are there? I'm trying to think about how I can keep this concise, because basically the question I want to ask is, what are ways that you've changed as far as, I don't know, what kind of messaging maybe you're trying to get out with your music, or how you want to affect your audience? Like, has that changed over time, or have you been going for the same kind of goal with your music? Like, what's the I guess how has your what you're trying to say changed over time? Because just over 20 years as an artist, everyone changes as a person over 20 years, and expressing yourself as an artist. What are some ways that that's developed?
Yeah, I feel like over the years, I've been able to focus more on like themes and like the overall like what are you trying to express, so it is message music in a way where every album kind of has this overall vibe, so it's basically packaged as a whole project. So I had a project, for instance, a few albums back called Voice of the Voiceless, which was, it got real political and racy and all these things. It was a serious type of...
was that a break of from form for you to get more
Yeah. I
like
really
that?
started out like battle rap and competitive, just like bars, just rhyming, bro, just having a good time, and competing, being younger and wanting my name to be more known, and just paying my dues, in the scene. So yeah, I it was aggressive, and it was lyrical, and those are some of the types of genres and music that I like, So that's how I came up. But then after a while, it got a little bit more political, because life was at that point, I was probably reading certain things and watching certain things and just living. Growing up, being a teenager or a young adult is different than being, a child, so it's just expressing myself in whichever stage of life I'm in. That's really how it is. With this last project, it's more vibes. It's more like every song and every visual, like I said, is another layer of self. So we do have some message music where it's like, oh, we're trying to tell a message directly, and then some of it's like, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's collaborative, and we had the freedom as artists to all do kind of what we wanted to do with this project, and it wasn't like, oh, dial that back, or no, we're not going to go there. That's a little too much. It's like, oh, bro, I love that. I didn't even think about it like that perspective, or let it rock. And I think it adds to the overall experience,
Now, that, first off, great answer. That was awesome. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, here's the beginning, political, and then it's that's, wow, I got just such a great bird's eye view of your development as an artist. So thank you for that. Now, one of the things that I got to see in some of your music videos is you've gotten to travel a bit from this, is that something that, like, how are you traveling? Do you hate the process of traveling, or like, I
love it.
You
man.
love
I
it?
love
Man?
everything about it.
Awesome.
Not as I'm in it, like when I'm, packing and the whole airport thing and all of that, those procedures, no, it's not fun. But at this point, it's just part of it, man. I'm just learning to like accept these.
But you went to Cuba.
Yes.
Right? What was that like?
I've been to Cuba a few times now.
Oh, okay.
You know what
Great.
I mean?
Right.
Cuba, I love Cuba, man, first off. and I have a lot of friends there now. It's almost just like second family. Cuba's amazing. Cuba, but it's real. You know, the thing I like about Cuba is like it's real, it's authentic. So you got those really lows. You know what I mean? The things about it that are just sad, man. That would bring tears to our eyes and just it's just a lot to handle, man, when you understand like that whole system and how people are not able to have the freedoms that we just like we have every day, man. We just take for granted, People don't have those, but people are happy, for the most part, and people are creating and people are living and surviving and many are even thriving, man, just because of their perspective and their strong spirits, man. It was a place that I didn't think like because it's an island, I really didn't know the depth of it. But then being there, it kind of opened my eyes to do more history about it. And then once I learned a lot of the history, it kind of gave me context to why the people are so strong and resilient regardless of what they're dealing with. And then you have your amazing things about it, which are just like the beaches and drinking rum out on the streets, bro, and having a good time and smoking cigars. I'm an avid cigar smoker, and I've only become that because of going to Cuba. So every time I smoke a cigar,
that'd be the place to pick it up, right?
Yeah, no, it is. But
Yeah.
I would look at people back in the day like smoking cigars like old man. I'm like, bro, that's nasty. That's like I'm not. Why would people enjoy that? But then being in Cuba and being in the sun. And I'm one of them people, like, if I'm somewhere, I really delve into the culture and want to experience it like a native, like a local. So I went all in. And then going all in, man, you're just like, I found myself coming back to the States when it was sunny in Pittsburgh. I'm like, I think I can walk around the streets and in the hood with a bottle of rum and smoking a cigar. And it's not quite like that, but
That's one of the freedoms we perhaps don't have.
That is exactly. But yeah, man, it's a place that really appreciates art and music, and I immediately got connected to the art community and the music community, and I have some it's just a place I go to get a lot of inspiration. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What are some other places that you've been able to travel with your music?
A lot of places, man, but I would say off top with the music, Scotland,
Oh, I'm Scottish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where did you go?
So I went to Glasgow.
Yeah.
And then up where the castles are, what is it?
There's a lot of Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
There we go, yeah. It's like there's
I was only there for like a week or so. Me, Dr. Ozeas, her husband Chuck, they met me over there actually, and we did a big teaching conference. It's an international teaching conference.
Through CMU?
Through CMU.
Yes,
so
Andrew Carnegie was Scottish. So
yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, full circle.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's why there's bagpipes at CMU. That's why my dad, he was the first graduate of the bagpiping program at CMU. That program exists because of him. Like, he was basically the guinea pig of, like, can bagpipes be seen as classical instruments, and stuff like that. So,
yes, they can.
I remember as a kid, like, because we moved up here from Texas, so my dad could go to CMU. And I remember as a little kid, like, dropping dad off at CMU and picking him up, and stuff. So, like, some of my earliest memories are around that campus.
That's amazing.
But sorry, tangent. But yeah,
that's
amazing.
No, but it's cool. It's cool because, I was just expressing that, like, how when I was young, I went to CMU and checked out the robotics and technology because I went to Shenley High School, and we had a magnet. It was like an engineering magnet, so they took us over there for a field trip. And I remember that whole world and how it just inspired me even back then, man. And now I look at AI and everything that's going on, and I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy that, like, we come from a place where all of that is going on, and then there's other parts of this city and pockets of this city where people you know, they don't even have the education to like work tech. You know, they can't even get on a computer or know how to search. You know, it's an interesting place. Like the city is an interesting place. But I'm grateful to be in a place where it's just in Oakland, you know, like I take students to CMU to record. So I'm taking them from the neighborhood, and they're getting to see like college campus and how it is. They're getting to see, you know, this elaborate studio space, and I know that there's something there, you know.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah. And did you when you were in Scotland? Did you get to go to the castle, Edinburgh Castle?
Yeah, we got to go to the castle,
cool,
man. And
right? Yeah.
crazy, bro.
It's like when you're a kid and you're like, I want to go to a castle someday, and then you go to Edinburgh, you're like, this is everything I've ever dreamed.
Right.
It's got everything.
Yes,
it's
yes.
wonderful. So
all intact. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So all right, well, let's keep talking about this event you have going on. So first off, you said you've released 7 albums.
7 albums, correct, independently.
Yeah. Real quick, I've never released an album.
Okay.
When you release an album, okay, is there a definitive moment where you get to go like, it's done, and you just get to like look at it? Did you take time for that? What's that like? Is there a sense of accomplishment? Are you already on to the next thing, or is it different depending on the album? What's that like? Because I know there's a lot of people who are just dreaming of the day that they get to finish one album, like wondering if they'll ever get to make an album. All right, and you were probably one of those people at some point.
Yes,
you've done 7 of them.
Yes.
What's it like for those looking forward to it?
No, it's an amazing feeling and accomplishment, but like you said, you are usually on to the next. You're right. On to the next thing, and that's just how it goes, because that time, you know, you only have so much time, so you're already thinking like, yeah, that's cool, but I've been listening to this, I've been recording this for over a year now, or for over so many months. I'm ready to create some new stuff because I have new production. I always have production coming in, and you're just ready to say something new. That's unfortunate, to be honest, because then with this last album, well, these last 3 albums that I released, I've taken my time more. I've learned to like slow down a little, enjoy the process, and when people get it, they get it. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to live for the audience and for the supporters. Like if they truly appreciate it, they'll wait with you, and because they want the best the same way that you want the best. So yeah, take your time. So these projects have taken the longest, and mainly because of the visual aspect and everyone's scheduling and things like that. But it still is amazing to do so. It was a great pace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sometimes if you just spend all your time trying to, you know, get things done quickly, you might not be able to take the time to enjoy what you're doing.
Correct.
You know, there's just to relate to the story that I am fond of remembering is I was on staff at a Boy Scout camp, and at the end of a bonfire, there's a lake right there, and the staff would form a bucket line and dump the water on the fire, you know, and my dad would be playing guitar, and we'd be singing Puff the Magic Dragon, you know, and that's we did that for every fire, and it would take us the entire song, including the final verse that my dad wrote, that it would take the whole song for us to do this one fire, and it was great. And there's one time we had a new guy on staff who said, like, hey, you know what? If we did this, we'd be able to get this done way faster. And we're like, we don't want to get it done faster.
Right.
It's we like doing this.
Right.
You know,
it's part of it.
Yeah, it's like it's part of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what are kind of going off of that? Is there a part of the process from coming up with the idea to someone else experiencing your work for the first time, whether it's a song and or the music video, in that span there, do you have a best moment like a favorite moment where it's like that's the cherry on top for you?
To seal it, like to let me know it's complete,
Well,
or
like
to
I
let
guess
me
your
know?
favorite part, like what of the process, like when I'm making like a film, one of my favorite things is on set during production working with the actors and the
Okay.
director of photography.
Okay.
It's like I love everything about filmmaking, but I like doing that more than I like rotoscoping, for example, cutting things out frame by frame in post-production, which even that, I find myself enjoying it when I'm doing it. But not that I will do it for anyone who, but myself. But like, there's different parts of the process that, for any artist, there's a part of it they like. Some people, just to give an example on the opposite end of that, some actors can't watch themselves.
Yeah, I guess,
like they
yeah,
love
I've
to
heard that.
act. They love like playing the part, but then they can't even watch the film.
Yeah.
All right? There's some people who there's parts of the process they hate, or whatever, and there's like those parts, hopefully, that we love the most. Is there a part of the process for one of your songs, anything you're doing, that maybe is in your favorite part of the process, or is up there? Like what gets you the most into what you're doing?
I would say my favorite process is my favorite part of the process is just kicking it with my homies who do music, bro. Like, because we're all passionate about it. We all came up together, kind of like self-taught. So these guys like know all the programs and the machines, from analog to digital. They kind of just like kept going and just transitioned from those, because those were different worlds almost, but they just like smoothly transitioned. So I go up to their studio spaces, like my bro Diesel, Diesel Man, and just kicking it with him, bro. We just grab some food from Spax Brothers. We'll eat. We'll chop it up about family. We'll, do everything else outside of music. And then be like, oh yeah, we're in the studio, bro. I think we need to get something done.
Right
and
on.
we create some amazing tracks. And it wasn't like with the intention, as soon as we get together, we have to do this. It's not business. It's none of that. These are all people who I have relationships. Like everyone I create with and collaborate with are people that I have relationships with first, you know what I mean? And then we just happen to do music and share a passion. So like kicking it with him and talking to him and him creating a beat as I write, like those are the moments. Like those are the moments that I wish I had in this time, like more time to do, like in this season. But like as you get older, now it is a lot more like, bro, we got to get this done. But like coming up with these people and growing up with these people, we were like, bro, I was spending a night over, his mom's house where the studio was. Studio up in the attic. I'm down on the first floor. I'm spending the night. I'm waking up in the morning, going back to the studio, and we're finishing a song. You know what I mean? Just like real, just like brotherhood, man. Like that is my favorite. That has to be my favorite part of the process, for sure.
Right on.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, for this event coming up.
Yes. Watching you, watching me.
Yeah. Everybody don't forget, more information in the description.
More information. We still got tickets on Eventbrite.
Excellent.
Under ChaRon Don, watching you, watching me.
And is PJ going to be your MC?
Yes, PJ is going to be the MC, at least for the second night, which is the 10th.
Great.
Yes, and then I have Michelle Massey, who's a journalist, again, another friend for years, who's coming in from D.C., and she's going to do the first night, opening night.
Excellent. Well, I'm really glad that's working out.
Yeah,
PJ,
thank you so much, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. He's PJ's great.
No, I heard when I told Aaron, he was like, "Oh yeah, PJ's the man."
Yeah, he is.
So.
He's been on this show. He'll be on again, I'm sure. He runs the 48-hour film project here in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
He's always doing something. That
Yeah,
guy
I looked on his page. I'm like, oh, this
he's
guy's legit.
Yeah, every time I get on line I see him like posting like, oh, I'm doing like a Pirates game or something.
Yeah.
You know,
He
like
told me that's
that,
probably
or,
why he couldn't do the first night, because he'll be at the
and
Pirates game.
or he's directing a feature or something.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Yeah.
like going
Active.
nuts all the time.
Yeah.
So, and he keeps that energy.
I love it.
Man, and is like just aggressively pleasant and nice to be around. You know,
That's amazing.
So he's phenomenal. But it sounds like you've got a great lineup of MCs and work to showcase.
Yes.
Congratulations again on coming to the end of this road.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And because so much of what I've learned and heard from people who have, achieved what they've worked for in any kind of field, a lot of them will say the same. A lot of people who have accomplished something, even if it's in different fields, will say a lot of the same thing with like, you just got to keep doing it.
Yes. Consistent.
The number of people who, said they wanted to do music, what was it, like people who have, become successful, let's take music as an example, who have told me, like, hey, in high school, I knew a guy who I thought was going to be, like, skyrocket ahead of me forever, but he just stopped doing it, and it's like, but they were the one who kept going.
Right.
And then it's like, you get into, you get to the point when you're in a field working a medium, and then there's a project that a lot of other people just wouldn't have the endurance to work on something for 6 years.
That's true.
So I'm always pleased and impressed with anyone who like sticks with something to see it through.
That's true.
Like that. And so I think it's just great. They've got this coming together for all of it.
And you meet new friends.
Yeah.
I feel like the more you do what you're passionate about, I've met so many different people, even by knowing Aaron, because he's in, that film world. So it's like, it's dope to work with people who are just as passionate as you, if not more, in their own way. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, it's a real collaboration, and it's like, man, you're like me, we're all like kinfolk, but you're bringing each other into different worlds as well. You know what I mean? And worlds that we all naturally appreciate and love, like music and film. I mean, who doesn't like? You know what I mean?
Right.
Who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
And how influential are both of those on our world?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's great. It's great to merge them.
Well, phenomenal. I think it'll be a wonderful event.
Yeah, I wish you could come, man.
Yeah, and me too. I've got a shoot.
Yeah.
But I've been able to enjoy some of your work already.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you on again sometime.
For sure.
Yeah, and like I said, everybody, check the description for everything. And we hope that you're able to go to this event. Congratulations again.
Thanks again, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, this was a great time.
Wonderful, I'm glad.
Yeah.
And thanks for being my guest.
Of course, man. All right, much love.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the StudioMEcast. I've been your host, Peter Regan. Don't forget the description below. And if you liked the look and sound of this podcast, well, you can book it yourself online at StudioME.me.